This will probably be a response video to a couple of videos, but we'll see how far I get, whether I finish the one in this time for the other. The first is on the subject of intelligence for all, brought up by the modern mystic. The premise being that intelligence isn't evenly or fairly distributed. My argument would be that yeah, there isn't a problem. This is a problem manufactured by individuals, and that this will be part of the second video, which has to do with society, whether there's a me or whether there's a we, and all the rest of this stuff. But we have to really take responsibility for our intelligence as individuals, because you don't need a lot of knowledge to know a lot of things. You don't need, I mean, intelligence, the raw information is helpful, but of course it would help if there was always somebody there to condense it for you, you know, the wise mystic, for example, or someone else to, you know, hit the high points, you know, a responsible parent, for example, who would inform their kid that yeah, war is really, really dumb, and that acting on your selfish emotions is really, really stupid. The concepts aren't that complicated. You know, being civilized, it really isn't that friggin' hard. And you know, the majority of people who get caught up in this nationalism and teamism and groupism, I mean, you see this maniacal, crazy, I mean, it's almost a psychotic behavior when you think of people and their sports teams, and it's like they're rooting for them. I don't know what it is insipid. There's no word for the silliness of it all. You know, with the parodies you can do of human conduct, and point out the ludicrousness of so much of it, the frivolous and silliness of it, because we're all afraid to insult ourselves. We're such egomaniacal lunatics in this culture, in this society. This is why I hate society. Society just keeps praising mankind instead of beating him up and saying, will you grow up? You have a brain, you have a mind, now use it. You can figure this out for yourself. I could figure it out. When I was a kid, I could figure out that there's something really wrong here. It was friggin' obvious. You know, suffering, dying, animals eating each other, it was all a little bit crazy, and everybody just keeps making excuses for it all. We call, like I said, I've brought this up before, we call it Mother Nature, and we always in this wonderful, this struggle for survival. No, it's god awful, all right? It's horrific. You know, when we watch it, as it's a pleasure. You know, it's, you know, put on the nature shows, and it's, oh, yeah, Shark Week. Yeah, let's watch things get eaten by sharks this week, and next week we'll watch things get eaten by lions, and next week we'll watch crocodiles chomp things to pieces. And it's great entertainment and fun, because you know, people haven't taken one moment to consider, gee, that doesn't look like fun. No, that looks really quite horrible. You mean I have to cross the river if I'm a certain kind of animal, and it's full of crocodiles, and I have to spend 2 weeks pacing back and forth trying to get up the courage to jump in that water and swim that swim, knowing that, gee, I just saw my uncle get chomped to pieces. You know, whatever. I won't go into, you know, don't get lost in this. The bottom line is look, intelligence, the cream of intelligence, knowledge, wisdom, these things are readily available. They are growing on trees. It's like, you know, you could pluck this stuff right out of your yard, for Christ's sakes. You can know enough to be a civilized human being. And the obstacle is religion. The obstacle is closed minds. Minds who, you know, where the dogma defines the human. The social dogma or the religious dogma, it doesn't matter. That people just follow along and just eat the dogma, and that's it. That's the end of their mind. Their mind closes, and they never again open it again. And so they don't take one moment to reflect on themselves and recognize the obvious. It is obvious we are selfish organisms. We have selfish desires. The society doesn't feel my horniness. The society doesn't feel my hunger. I feel it. I'm motivated by it. I'm driven by it. Okay, and then I have to take responsibility for it. How I react to it. Do I let it own me, or do I sit there and reflect for 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and figure out, oh yeah, this is all selfish stuff. Okay, and all these other humans that are equal to me have the same desires and needs. Okay, and so yeah, it's not a game of, you know, who can steal what from who first. No, that's just not going to work. And so I have to take responsibility for me. I can't fix society. Maybe I can, I don't know, but I mean, it's not easily done. But I have to take responsibility for me. And there's a lot of individuals out there who make this, they make the conscious choice, in my opinion, to ignore reality. The facts say the world is round, and they say, no, the world is not round because God says so. And that's it for them. That's the end. Their brain ceases to function as a device capable of holding knowledge or wisdom or intelligence, and it just becomes a tool. A scheming intelligence becomes a tool to achieve the goal defined, by the society or the religion, and that's a choice they make, because it's there's nothing, I couldn't have been bent in any other course in my life. I mean, I knew very young there was something wrong, and no one was going to tell me it was all right and it all made sense somehow and it all had purpose. It was just nonsense. It was too obvious. Well, anyway, so let's just not make excuses for people. I'd love for more knowledge and information to be made available. I'm all for that. Yeah, I think there should be a better access to information. The internet should be in every home and all that stuff. Okay, because people should be able to educate themselves. But the basic knowledge you need to be a civilized human being is not complicated. It's not out of anybody's reach. It's right in front of them every single day. Okay, they know their own bigotries, they know they exist, and they rationalize them and they excuse them. They make any kind of an excuse to justify themselves over some other circumstance. They find excuses not to let logic dictate what they will do, whether they like it or not. There's no discipline. They are undisciplined animals. They've chosen to remain animals and chosen to just chase. I don't even know how to describe. I mean, chase these illusions, these delusions, and there's just and then they're so, people keep saying you have to love yourself before you can love others and all this. No, bullshit. You have to hate yourself. You have to have absolutely contempt for yourself before you can be useful to anybody. That's the real key to this whole game, is understanding that yourself is full of shit. You are an asshole by nature, a selfish asshole. That's the fucking truth. And the only way you're going to be a great human being is to swallow some of that, to eat it, to throw it out, to get rid of it. Because if you let that be your guide, you're not going anywhere. Because then, like I said, intelligence just becomes a scheming tool. It just becomes something you use. It's a device you use to hammer and manipulate to get what you want, what you desire. And you don't do any work on yourself. You don't do any work on your own desires even. You don't add any context to your desires to try to mitigate against their influence on you. You just act on them. And so there's too much self-love. There's too much love of too much pride in God and the team and the nation and the tribe and the family, and none of it has any logical foundation. It's all emotion. It's all conditioned emotion and reflexes almost. And I think it's an offense to intelligence to start talking about society's obligations to inform, or society, or us being part of society. Now, I have nothing to do with society as an intellectual and as a feeling organism. I am me. I have a me. I'll negotiate on the I stuff, but I'm not giving away on the me stuff. Okay, society is shit. All right, and I could live without it. Okay, if I had something, whatever, to satisfy a few needs or whatever, yeah, I could live on a very lonely planet without any people, because that's just the fact is that, yeah, I'm a me. I can entertain myself. I have a brain that works. I have an imagination. I don't need other people. I'm not saying this, I'm recommending this for everybody else. I'm just saying the fact is that these two things don't have to be connected. There's no requirement at a time. So anyway, sorry, a little bit intense, but